So I finished Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Alright, so first off, you'll notice that the camera's at a different angle, and that there's blankets behind me, there's a bed behind me, and I have no glasses on. First of all, because the camera's angle's better, and for me, it's easier for me to just do straight on instead of just go to the side like, hello everybody, so I finished, da-da-da-da-da. And for this angle, it's just that I took off my glasses because there was the glare in my glasses that sometimes happens, like, during like Let's Play videos with when the camera's like that, and on my second monitor, there's like glare. You can't really see it as well because the window's like in the corner, and you're not really noticing me or noticing the gameplay majorly. So anyway, yeah, just get that out of the side. So yeah, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. That it's a good game. It's a great game. So I'm going to not do a list of okay, this is the gameplay, this is the music, this is the bosses, this is that. Here's my final thoughts. I'm kind of going to do like this little jumbled up, and it's like I'm more orderly, but I'm gonna be like more just open-ended, kind of, I guess. Just so I'm more of myself, and I'm not going kind of by a bullet point, which I usually do with my reviews. So I don't really like doing reviews because of that, because of the bullet points. So hopefully I'll like this review for myself watching this review later on, and hopefully this will be a good formula that I can go by now, because I'm kind of, feels like I'm going back and forth, and I don't know how to do reviews yet. And I still don't. Reviews are hard. But anyway, I'm sorry. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. So, yeah, I mean... So, it starts off with, like, the binaural beats, and, like, she's going through the water, and I think she's, like, Celtic. She's a Celtic warrior, and she has psychosis, and there's the whole entire sequence of, like, voices in her head talking, and, like, the narrator. And, yeah, that's the thing, is that how they play off the psychosis that she has, and like using one of those voices as a narrator, and just using what they give the game and the characters. It's so good. Like the characters, like with Druth, it's like he is a character that gives you mythology, and again with the psychosis, you get a narrator, and you get like the binaural stuff. So like you're kind of witnessing what she's kind of going through or listening to, you know what I mean? So it's just, that's cool how they kind of did that. It's really cool how they just, you learn something instead of just like going through an experience or just playing a game and having dumb fun. It's actually, it's a story. It's like, and you're learning mythology and the time and everything about the game. It's really, really cool, and all like the gods and everything. You actually get to fight the gods, and so yeah. So like in the gameplay, with battling like the gods and the enemy it's all swordplay, and you get to like evade and focus, which is like basically like your double trigger, I guess, in this game. Is like it's not like you're overpowered, but it's like you kind of are. You get all the hits when you're getting focused, through like the mirror that I think Druth gives you. I think sometime, I don't know. I forget when you get that mirror, but anyway, yeah. So that's actually pretty cool, and like I said earlier, I think it was the first episode when you fight Valravn and really all the other enemies at first, you get to like block and then go from enemy to enemy, and like as one enemy you're hitting another, and then the enemy comes in, you have to dodge. I said that it reminds me of the Batman Arkham series. I'll put some footage of the Batman Arkham series so you get what I mean. Of all the combat, it's like you fight one, it's the same thing. You fight another person, and then you can go over here or there, or someone's gonna behind you. Oh, you can just swoop behind them and dodge. You know, So just I guess the fun factor and all that, it's not that high. It's satisfying, but it's not just fun all throughout. It kind of gets a little stale later in the game, and there's no fresh take on it. There's no new equipment or new power ups or like new anything. It's just the same old gameplay, and that's really why it gets stale later on. It's like you get used to it and you know what the deal is. Oh, there's someone right behind you. Okay, you gotta dodge. Okay, there it is. And I guess the only freshness that they give with that kind of gameplay is that they just throw more enemies on top of you later in the game, like through a bunch of mobs, and it's still not that hard. It's like the gameplay just gets stale, and that's the reason why it's like Batman Arkham series. That gameplay is actually more fun because you actually get more equipment, and you can do like different combos. You can break someone's ankle as a dodge or something like that. There's always like something new. And with like Devil May Cry, like you play with Dante, you get a new devil arm. Okay, so you see what I mean? And then Hellblade just doesn't give you anything. It's just you get a new sword, and then that's it. And then it's just the same gameplay. But anyway, at least it's new for the bosses though, because the bosses, like with what's the beast's name? And it's not Garn. I thought it was Garn, but it's not. I guess. I'll just call him Garn, just because I forget, just to reference the, so I don't have to say the beast all the time. Garn or whoever it is, like with all the bosses, they have like their different moves, and I believe with Garn, he actually darkens the place. He can pounce on you, and just the ways you have to dodge everything and watch out. And with Volrub and with his new moves, you have to dodge like his needle attacks or whatever. And there's also shadow forms, like the feathery shadow dark forms that you can't hit, but you have to focus first and then you can hit them. That's another thing that they give you, but it still goes stale, you know? So but the bosses were always fun though, because they were new, and I love their designs and all the environments and everything, and like it was so cool just seeing all the characters and like the enemy designs, and what Senua was experiencing and everything was really, really cool. But yeah, it just got the gameplay got a little stale, and the bosses were good though, because that was a fresh take. For those moments, it was new, it was fresh. Also with the gameplay, there's these like, I'll go ahead and say it. Volraven's little illusionary puzzle got me. I could not really know what to do because my own brain wasn't noticing what was changing, and so I was like, oh, what is this happening? And then I finally noticed watching these YouTube videos. I was like, oh, how did I not notice that? It was like, so that was on me, and I was like actually kind of annoyed with myself that I didn't know that. I didn't notice anything, so I pretty much just wasted time trying to figure everything out. So Valravn was kind of tricky and knowing everything, but as I got the gist out of like what the arcs were, and I was like, oh, okay, there's something changing, and it's so it got easier, and I was like, okay, I know the deal. And I think what happened with Soot. Oh, the puzzle. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. The puzzles with the symbols you get. That wasn't too hard. That was well, I think that was like as hard actually as the other like illusionary arcs. They're kind of the same, but I totally understood what was happening though. That I had to find the symbols and everything. So like understanding what I had to do, that was a lot quicker than the illusion arcs. That's why I call them, because they're arcs and like arches, arcs. No, I'm not. No, they're arches, not arcs. Why am I saying arcs? But what the hell? Anyway, Anyway, yeah. So the symbols, the stupid symbols, they were hard to get. Like to find them, they were kind of hard. But thank God I wasn't dealing with like the illusion arches and everything at the same time, though. Yeah, they were just so it was so tricky, and you had to like really have like a third eye in noticing what was happening. Like you have to pay attention to every detail in that environment to know what's this shadow making. Oh, okay, I can link this and this to make that. Okay. Um, Sometimes they weren't all that hard. They were like, oh, that's obvious. And there were like simple symbols too. There was like PF, like the Bluetooth symbol with the B, because it's all Nordic. So there were very pointy symbols. So yeah. Anyway, the puzzles. It was kind of a puzzle game. Like in between the battles, there was like that kind of puzzle with either the illusions with Valravn, or the symbols. That's pretty much it. It was just with Valravn, it was the illusions, and everything else in between was just trying to find symbols through like architecture and shadows and everything. So yeah, gameplay overall, it was good. It was good. It wasn't great, but it was like I liked it though. It was abstract, and I don't really get to play or know. I don't really know a lot of games that kind of does those puzzles. I've played puzzle games before, but it's like those kind of puzzles are actually interesting. I haven't seen those in ages. So, and they're really, yeah, again, they're just really tricky. So overall I did like the gameplay though, except for, but again, when it comes to battles, kind of gets stale a little bit later on, except for the boss fights. So yeah, what did I go over? The characters, and oh man, should I just get over with how the ending was? Because that's what's on my mind this whole review, is that I want to talk about the ending. Because I will. You know what? Screw it. I don't care. I will. Oh man, the ending was so good. I swore a bunch of times. F-bomb here, F-bomb there. Not proud of it, but whatever. Anyway, it was so good. It was so good, though. It was just... I'll walk you through my brain process. My process was, first of all, when you get to Hela, you have to fight all the monsters, and at the very end, you have to redo all the bosses, too. There's, like, Garn, Surt, or there's shadow forms of them. So that was cool. And I was actually used to that, because Devil May Cry does that with fighting bosses, and then they come back again at the end, and then you get to the final boss. I do like that formula, actually. It kind of like shows you how far you've gotten, and then it kind of like throws you with enough, like, just the same bosses all over again, and it just gives you a challenge, kind of like just challenges side by side. And then like the ultimate challenge for fighting the final boss. I just love that formula that games have. That's one of the reasons why I love Devil May Cry. That anyway. So yeah, and then after you do that, there's just hordes of enemies, and they all just keep on teleporting, and it was 20 minutes of that where I was just around Hela, and I wanted to fight Hela. I was like, oh my gosh, like even Senua was like, I got the sword of Slay Gods, I'm gonna kill you. And it's just, in the end, you don't actually kill Hela. Well, you kind of do, though. You kill a bunch of enemies, and then you have to die. Took me 20 minutes to understand that, and I was, like, panicking, because I didn't know if the game actually had permanent death or not. So that was scary. That had me on edge the whole entire series, or Let's Play, whatever you want to call it. So when that happened, I was like, oh crap, what's gonna happen? Do I have like a good ending, a bad ending? I don't know. If there's separate endings, I don't know what's gonna happen. And then Senua was like, that's what you want me to believe, I just want to let Dillion go, huh? Well, you're not gonna have him. And then Senua was like bargaining with Hela, saying like, hey, I can help you with Ragnarok, when Ragnarok comes, if you're gonna spare my husband, my dead lover. And or revive him, I guess, because he's been dead for a while. Oh yeah, Dillion. I'll get to that later. Dillion is the Dillion story is like a different thing that I had. It took me like a few days after to figure out what happened there, but I'll get to that after discussing the ending. But so she said that, and then Hela was just like so big, and then she was like saying nothing, and then um, killed Senua, and I was like, oh crap, was this my bad? And I was still debating on it, and then Dillian showed up having another inspiration death quote or whatever about philosophy, and then Senua dies, and then Hela picks up the head, and then there's like a monologue of how beautiful the Earth is. You don't take the Earth for granted of how beautiful it is. Cherish your moments, which was good. It was, gosh, it wasn't like a broken record or anything. It was like an actual really good speech about um, about the beauty of creation. Pretty much, it was really cool. I really liked the that that speech ending. It was really cool. And with like the view and everything. And Hela dropped the head, and then she turned into Senua, and then I was like, oh, I get it. And then I actually had that feeling when Hela dropped the head. I was like, oh, wait a minute, because it like clicked in my head that Senua had to let Dillian go, and when Hela dropped the head, I was like, oh, Hela, Senua. Senua was just fighting herself the whole entire time. That's why I was like so blown away, because I did not understand the story throughout the whole entire Let's Play. I was like, oh, I get it now. I finally get it now, what this was all for. And that's why I was like, what the fuck? You know, that's why I did that reaction, because I was like, oh. Yeah, and then the ending credits music was so good, though. I got a copyright claim, but the video wasn't taken down, so that was good. Because I don't get monetized for videos anyway, thank God. Otherwise that would piss me off, but I mean, I wasn't surprised anyway. So that's why I was like, alright, if I get a copyright claim, then I'll just don't care. So I don't. Anyway, I hope I don't bore you guys with like the same ending, because you guys know the ending and I'm just retelling it, but it's just like, but I had to like, but it's like my brain process like with just talking about it. I'm sorry, but anyway, yeah. And then going on to Dillian with Senua trying to like save Dillian, and then all of a sudden, like after defeating Soot and Valravn, like the Dark Senua comes in, and then all of a sudden, like Dillian's being hung on this stick, like he's being crucified or something like that. And then I was like, wait, Dillian's dead? Wait, I thought we had his head. And then it's like the story was explained pretty abstractly and not linear. So it's like it's like a puzzle where you had pieces already set, and it's like, okay, where does this go? Oh, okay, this connects. That makes sense. Okay, and then finally understand what's going on with Dillian, because so the full story of Dillian and Senua is that Senua had psychosis, right? And she thought, and then everybody thought that was like the demons, that she was a monster or something like that. And so, and then Dillian accepted her though, and Senua was like, oh, I don't want to burden Dillian with this, so I'll go into the forest and try to defeat it. Senua thought she defeated it, but she didn't. And when she comes back, she finds Dillian dead, and now she feels guilty about leaving and everything. So now, I think that's what Senua's sacrifice means, is that like her sacrifice for just in the end letting Dillian go. She's so hung up on the guilt and everything of losing her love because of the darkness that's in her. But it's actually just a mental illness, because you know the older humanity just didn't understand science and everything, which is a shame. So yeah, and then I believe that's the entire story that I got right. So yeah, like I said, it took me. I was thinking about it. I was like, wait, what? So what was Dillian about? And then all that, like, all the pieces started to come together in that story, and I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. So yeah, the story was so good. It was such a good love story. I don't know, love story, but just I guess a self story about love. It was so good. It was so perfect. The way just everything fell into place. It was so good. And with just like with the binaural beats and everything, you get to learn about mythology through Juth, and about you get to learn about like what death is, the beauty in creation, having to let go of stuff, and dealing with guilt and loss and love. It's loss of love. It's so good. It was so. I think I could say perfect. It was just the story was good. It was perfect the way it was, and there's nothing that I would change, honestly, except for the gameplay. That's literally it. As a game, yeah, change the gameplay a little bit, have it not be so stale. But then that's it. Like everything else is just like it was beautiful. It was like pristine. It was awesome. It was awesome. Oh man, it was so good. So, and with the illusion of just with also Hella turning into Senua at the end, it had me think of my own theory on, oh, did she, with like all the soot in Valravn, it wasn't like all physical, it was all like mental though. Like everything wasn't all real. She was just dealing with her own stuff the whole entire way. There was no like real gods or anything. It was just, it was all gods and everything because that's what she was taught, but physically that's not what actually happened. It was just all in her head, signifying the battle that she was going through, to try and get Dillian back, but in the end she had to accept that she couldn't. So yeah, it was sorry, so good. Also with the music, it was really, really good with just in general. It's not about with the ending, it was really good, but with the setting and the environment and the time that it had, that's why the music was really good, because it had me actually think about that time, and with the ending, it was atmospheric, and having the actual sound of the finale, it was really good. I think that my favorite song had to be Hella. So, without further ado, here is the preview of some of the selections of music that I really like.
Through this darkness you will find him. In your sword still beats a heart.
I think that's all I have to say, honestly. It was really good, and that Hellblade feature was really good. Now, I'll say it again, Ninja Theory has my respect, finally. And I'm glad, because I only knew them with DMC, Devil May Cry reboot. And now I played Hellblade, I'm like, oh man, I'm really excited to see what they have next. And it's only made in 2017, so I mean, I don't know what's up next with Ninja Theory, what they're making next, but man, I hope Ninja Theory's next project is going to be really good. So yeah, that's really my final thoughts. Is that not my hats off, my respect goes to Ninja Theory for making this game. So with that all being said, thank you all so much for watching. This felt a lot better doing this review like this. It felt so much better doing this review. Okay, so I'll just keep doing this. Anyway, yeah, thank you all so much for watching the Let's Play and everything. I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye. Shitsurishimasu gimasu. Cool. Yeah.
Please don't go. I want you to stay.